All right, dude. We're talking on the phone the other day, and then, you said, hey, man, I tried to hang myself in Mexico. And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? Break this down for me. You were in Mexico. What in the hell possessed you to hang yourself?
Okay, well...
You tried to commit suicide.
In more detail.
Okay.
The whole time I was there with Alicia, my girl at the time, I still love her to death, but she was having problems with the father of her child, and to the point where the guy actually put a $100,000 reward out for the kid, basically for somebody to kidnap the kid and bring him back to the States on Facebook and MySpace and all that. And kidnapping is huge down in Mexico.
Damn right it is.
If this guy didn't have the money, if somebody would have actually kidnapped the kid and brought him back and he wouldn't got paid, that kid would have been dead. I mean, she was real stressed out over all that. And, it created a lot of friction that wasn't, that normally wouldn't have been there. And I was doing my thing down there was smoking weed.
Right.
That's how I stayed out of trouble. And guys down there, like the average person, they looked down on people smoking a joint, and they thought it was okay if guys did blow, which is totally ass backwards to me.
I agree. I'm not a dope smoker myself, but yeah, I would lean towards more of the dope smoking than the coke snorter.
I'd rather have a locker room full of dope pot smokers than a bunch of guys doing cocaine.
Agreed. So what happened?
So she was like, I don't want you smoking pot anymore in case you have to get tested. And she knew that came with the package.
Yep.
I mean, for right or wrong, that was my crutch.
Yes.
So that's how I ended up going to the booze. I hate the taste of alcohol.
Right, but
it's
you needed.
Before, I was never known as a big drinker. Well, I was drinking a fifth or more a day of Oso Negro, which is Mexican-made vodka, if you've ever heard of vodka made in Mexico.
But if you're going to stop smoking dope, you still needed your release, you still needed your buzz, so you turned to the bottle.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and it got the best of me, and then I felt like I needed it, or I wasn't going to be, or I'd be ill. Anyway, so we'd get into arguments, and sometimes it would turn physical, and she'd let me have it a couple of times, usually nothing major, but it sucks when things get physical between a man and a woman.
Yes.
Regardless of who that's doing it to who.
Yep.
And I've always prided myself, Steve, throughout my life, in being able to say I never hit a woman. I've even said to the point where I'd die before I did it.
Right.
So we're in our apartment, and I don't know what the fucking fight was even about, to be honest with you, Steve. Now, looking back at it, I just remember it turned into her, peeing off on me, and, she hit pretty damn hard for a woman, and I still wasn't going to hit her back. And so I think, that was her intention. She was, wanting me to hit her. It seemed like that was what it felt like, but I wouldn't do it. She took my picture of my kids, broke it over her knee, and I just snapped. And I hit her with the straight right, knocked her across the room, and her son happened to see it. And I just was overcome with guilt and shame, Steve. I was like, I don't deserve to live. I was totally, my state of mind was totally irrational because of the alcohol and the Valiums. And so I pretty much ate almost a whole bottle of Valium, probably about 40 Valiums, because there was 20 left out of a bottle of 60.
Yeah.
And I went to we had a rooftop garden. We had a real nice apartment in a nice part of town. And I washed those Valiums down with some Bacardi, and I hate Bacardi, worse than any of the other alcohol, which I can't stand. And
so stop. You're washing pills down with vodka, with Bacardi, and so you're set on right now, hey, I'm going to commit suicide, but I'm going to swallow these pills first, or now you...
Well, here was my thought process.
Okay.
I wrote a suicide note, which was barely legible.
Right.
And I decided, okay, I'm going to take these pills and wash it down with alcohol before I hang myself, just in case I decide to pussy out.
Right, wow.
So I thought I would have all my bases covered, Steve.
Yeah.
So then I find a garden hose, I tie it to the beams on the roof, and then I tied it around my neck and I hung myself.
Oh,
and I don't remember anything else from that point on, until I woke up in the hospital in restraints and intubated with the breathing machine down my throat.
So, dude, and this is a fucked up question, but I mean, you tie the rope around the beams, you tie it around your neck. Do you just slump over and the pressure goes on your neck, or did you jump off of something? I mean, what the fuck?
Well, I started up on a chair.
Yeah.
And then I just, once the pills kicked in, apparently that's when I fell.
Gotcha. So
and so when they finally let me out of the restraints, like, I got this catheter in my dick, and I'm like, I'm wanting the hell out of here. I've already got scars all over my ankles and my wrists from trying to break the restraints.
Oh.
So I calmed down, but I want this catheter out in the worst way, right? And I'm trying to yank that sumbitch out, and I'm yanking as hard as I can. Little did I know, there's a balloon that they inflate up in there to keep it from coming out.
Oh, I didn't know
and if
that.
I would have ripped any harder, I would have stripped my urethra.
Oh, dude.
So finally they let me out of there, and my eyes are completely red. The whites of my eyes are completely red from all the blood vessels bursting.
Yes.
So, like, nobody can even look me in the eye because I look like the devil,
Yeah.
And, I mean, I kind of knew, okay, something's got to give now. I can't just go back to, status quo like as usual. Like, it's time that something drastic has to happen here.
Right.
Alicia had already called Kevin and called Ann Russo. And Kevin, that's like going back to my friends and I being, thick as thieves. Hunter, Triple H, told Kev, he goes, look, I can't get him this time. He said, can you get him? And he was right there, man. He was on a plane to Mexico City, picked me up. He brought me to Houston, Texas, to Menninger Clinic. And I stayed there for 4 months. And Matt Bourne was actually there with me.
In treatment?
And it didn't work for him. It worked for me.
Right.
I stayed there 4 months. They had like a 5-star chef there, and it was a very loving and safe environment. And I'll be honest with you, I cried the day I had to leave there.
Dude, I'm almost crying listening to you tell this story. I mean, it's so disturbing for me to hear this because so many of the guys have died.
But it's life, man. I mean, and it happened, and I'm not going to run from it.
So how did the 4 month stay go, and what was that? Because I mean, you're off your rocker. You had the incident. The shit hit the fan. So you decide to do the double whammy. Make sure you do the deed. You wake up and they come get you. You go down to the clinic. You're there for 4 months. How was that process? How did they bring you back to ground zero, or as close to ground zero as you could get?
Well, the thing is this place, unlike a lot of alcohol and drug rehab places, they concentrate on, it's not just a place for drug and alcohol rehab. It's for any kind of mental disorder. They have an OCD wing,
Gotcha.
A wing for people that, have eating disorders, people that are addicted to, everything. They have people that are cutters, everything you can think of. So I wasn't just in therapy with drug addicts. I mean, it was all different kinds. And we would have group therapies, and we would be forced to really take an honest look at ourselves, And it's easy to lie to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, basically you're living a life in denial.
I really figured out a lot of shit about myself, Steve, and it was no wonder. And the things like I was talking about, being abused as a kid, like that wasn't even like come to find out what the big issue was with me. I had some resentments, whether they were right or wrong. I had some resentments from, not having been supervised enough as a kid, or
yeah.
or whatever. Trying to put that politely.